All right. So, last time on A Crown of Cold Iron, we left our heroes in Trefdrig, Oryx's hometown, where the party successfully intervened and aided in the hatching of four new dragonborn hatchlings. There were some unintended side effects of their assistance, and we will have to follow closely the future of these dragonborn hatchlings. But the disruption in their hatching seems to have been a result of some kind of magical disruption from somewhere relatively nearby. The party is here in Fairy, chasing after missing humans, but also the missing mentor slash Tuathan nightmare person named Mort, who seems to have been carried away by powerful Fey forces. Cyrus has had a sort of ongoing connection to Mort and has been able to sort of track him. You all have also been tracking the physical trail of Argent and Stultus, Oryx's silver dragonborn cousins, who are in service to their patron, Lord Lambton, who also seem to have been involved in the disappearance of these humans. They were last seen stepping through a portal from the human world to here with a sick child in tow. So you all left Trefdrag, and with some very excellent survival checks, you scouted your way to the outskirts of Midweir. So I think we kind of left you all sort of overlooking this place, if that sounds correct. So the Weir is the heart of Lambton's domain. It is this meandering, incredibly wide, nonsensically deep river. But unlike a river in the human world, this river rolls with this multicolored mist. There are points of this sort of green and purple and blue light that sort of flicker across the surface, and this haze just sort of hangs over the river. You see boats gently navigating through this haze, and you see the city of Midweir sort of laid out around you. Midweir is strangely sort of a port city. Oric, give me a history check with advantage.
Yay.
Oh, right. This character actually does history. Okay.
Oh, I should open D&D Beyond.
22.
All right. You are very knowledgeable about Midweir. One of the things you have learned is that Midweir, the Weir itself has tributaries that, much like the land in Fairy, are geographically non-contiguous. Quite literally, waters flow into the Weir from wherever it makes the most sense for them to flow from. There is a strange, not a pattern, but there is a poetry to it that folks have learned to navigate. And so goods are able to pass here from all over Fairy, and even perhaps from places beyond. So Trefdrag was pretty much exclusively Silver Dragonborn. You know that Midweir is still a lot of Dragonborn and mostly Silver, but it's a little bit more. They're a majority, not the entirety. There's plenty of other kinds of Fae wandering around. So, which shot of Midweir do we want to start with? I should grab all of you first. Oh, who am I missing? Oh. I was like, wait, nope, that's not Auric.
Oric jumped into a pillow pile.
So I'm just going to put you on a map. This is not necessarily where you are right now. This is just
Okay.
sort of to get the vibe. The city is beautifully illuminated. Um,
There we go.
There it is.
yep.
It's like, this is not illuminated at all.
Oh, it's way brighter than I thought it would be. um, as you have sort of headed this way, the sky overhead has darkened quite a bit. Uh, in sort of a. It no longer seems to have relation to the time of day. This is an area where, in a sense, it is always the night market. This is a place where trades and secrets and mysteries unfold. This is a place of mist and illusions and dancing lights. This is a place where people come together and deceive one another and do business. It is, in fact, a reflection of the best and the worst parts of Lambton himself. So, the physical traces that you're following of Argent and Stultus lead you to the outskirts here and then get kind of confused. This is a high traffic area. Tref Drag, people don't really come and go very much. This is a city that, like, not all these people live here, but conservatively, there are thousands of people floating around in this city, and hundreds will be coming and going by foot. Now, distinctly, Cyrus, you get the feeling that Mort is your human sense of geography wants to say north, but you somehow know that's not right. It is upriver, whatever direction that is. So you all are on the outskirts of Midweir. What would you all like to do?
And I think I said it at the end of last session, but I am 100% human form right now.
Is this a place like so? Like, do we think we need to be sneaky here, or just when we get closer?
No clue.
Depends on how we're defining sneaky. I don't think we need to like be darting from shadow to shadow, but
Okay.
This would definitely be a place where there are crowds to mingle with. There are, as far as you know, there are functionally only two people. The two people you're chasing after who know what you all look like.
Okay. Fair.
Because even Auric is not the form anyone here would know.
yep.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's press on through the.
Okay.
So we'll be sort of navigating on sort of a geographic scale here. What kind of things would you be looking for? What would be a point of interest that might catch one of your all's eyes?
I think Lexi's just kind of in over her head, so everything's interesting to her.
Okay.
But a pub would certainly catch her eye the most.
I am definitely looking for any signs of humans.
So, with those in mind, Lexi, give me a perception check, and Auric, give me a perception check with disadvantage.
Would
You-
Cyrus have caught enough of the light filtering through the bars where he saw Mort to to try to be looking for that particular like hue. Um,
So you all had sort of a higher vantage point as you sort of headed down towards the river, and you can see that the length of this river is shot through with these colors.
okay.
This seems to be some kind of ambient magical effect of the river, and it all kind of looks the same.
Okay. Cyrus is probably then trying to do his best to keep an eye for Argent and Stultus.
All right,
Rolled
give
a
me.
16, by the way,
All right.
unlike my husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bow.
Disadvantage.
I found a person, I promise.
Auric, you think you see a human child. You are fully convinced you see a human child. You see like this head of sort of curly blonde hair that seems familiar. Like you think maybe you saw this in maybe some of the medical records that you retrieved from the Weirwood from the warehouse. And you go to sort of how do you sort of announce yourself to them?
I think I'm cautiously approaching and getting a feel for what's around them, whether they are currently being watched or held against their will.
So no indication they're being held against their will. No one seems to be watching them. They're just sort of wandering along, sort of mingling with the crowd, and then they see some kind of like food stand, and they run over to the food stand, and you see that they have these strange feathered legs, almost like if someone made a satyr out of a peacock. Very vibrant colors, and it just sort of like blurs and sort of melds up into the flesh around the torso. And for just a second, the kid's head turns, and you can see that there's like feathers splashed across the edges of the face, and the eyes are huge and have a sort of otherworldly luminousness to them. Although I guess to Auric it would be like human.
Otherworldly.
Yeah, this worldly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lexi. I think that there is maybe an echo here of some of the things that maybe Lexi got up to when she was deployed. This is this sort of beautiful, sort of alien place taken to the nth degree. But there's something amazing about it too. Like there's all of these food carts and stands and tents, and there's all these strange but delicious smells coming out of places. You see both sort of like mini bars almost that sit and like look over the water. I'll say too, the water here is like a slice of the river. It's like parts of the river pour through the city. And the largest part is still further east. This is only like a slice of it where essentially small boats can go through.
It's a fork.
Yeah.
No, it's a slice.
We call it forks here, honey. We're in the valley now.
But there's so much going on. Spices you've never smelled, drinks that seem to have. You see someone take a drink and then after they finish the drink, this just sort of warm light suffuses through them. And the person next to them, they're sipping on a straw, but somehow there's like a liquid. This person almost looks like a water elemental. And it's almost like the liquid goes out of them and is filling up the cup as they drink it. And instead, there's this sort of swirling gas filling them up inside.
Lexi is taking notes on things that she sees for future bar ideas.
This place is literally a brewer's dream.
Yes.
Okay, and Cyrus was still looking for Argent and Stultus, right?
Yep.
Go ahead and are you trying to spot them in the crowd, or are you still hunting after the tracks that you were following?
Probably here on the outskirts of the city, still looking for tracks.
Give me a flat survival check, because you've been following them for a while, so you're very familiar with what you're looking for. But at the same time, like, this is pretty high traffic area.
14.
14. You can definitely see that where you sort of entered the city, you see the tracks sort of lead up to that point. And you're able to follow it a little bit out into the city. And you even see, now that you know what you're looking for, what actually sticks out is this child seems to be walking barefoot. You don't see like any like bloody footprints or anything. They seem to be doing okay, but the sort of plain human footprint sticks out. You see a lot of that sort of clawed raptor-like dragonborn footprint. You see strange things like hooves, but you can tell they're not from horses. The sort of weight distribution of it implies a bipedal creature. So you can actually see that it does look like they maybe went to some of these stands.
Should we investigate the stands to see if there's anything suspicious that maybe they would have purchased? I don't know.
Nah, I'm assuming this is just them like getting a bite of street food or something on their way.
Yeah.
On
That's
their
a
way
good point.
through.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we can follow the tracks, then we may not need to, be asking vendors, have you seen this child?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say we keep pushing forward until we get.
Yeah.
So we think we're either closer on to Mort or closer to them, and then we can start trying to be a little more sneaky or look for different kind of clues.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
All right. So how are you sort of making your way through? What's the most immediate next thing?
I guess the most obvious would be to head in the direction of Mort, especially if we think that it's all going to kind of come together on the one point.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think just kind of picking our way through the crowd, keep going upriver.
All right.
In a vaguely Mortwardly direction.
Are you all going to stay on foot or try to traverse the river?
Oh, I guess for now, foot's probably okay.
Yeah.
Does it look like you can like get onto the river in multiple spots, or are there kind of only certain vantage points on?
There's several different sort of sets of docks.
Okay.
There's sort of smaller, what looks like sort of passenger areas. Um, they almost have sort of a gondola vibe to them. But you also see places where, like, what looks like full size sailing ships are somehow docked, even though something about seeing a sailing ship sitting on like a river with no ocean in sight feels a little odd. It looks far too big for the water that it's sitting on.
Oh, I figure on foot until we reach the point where we need to take a ferry or something.
So Oric would know. Technically, technically, you wouldn't have to take a ferry to travel from one point to another, from North Weir to the Mid Weir to the South Weir, but the land in between gets strange.
I retract my suggestion. We should find a boat.
I'm on a boat and
Can we? Do we hire one?
Yeah, you'd be able to basically. Uh, there would be basically what would be the right name for them? There would be captains of small ships that would take people sort of up and down the river.
Okay.
What's the exchange rate like here?
So you definitely know your cash would not necessarily spend great.
yeah.
Your paper gold marks. Um, Google thought I was talking to it. Um,
Yes.
Strange.
It happened to me the other night. I'm trying to remember what it was, but yeah, it was weird.
Um, as you all sort of have this conversation, uh, Marta just sort of casually says, "Oh, I could go take some money out in my father's name if we wanted to."
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Little conspicuous, but it'll work.
Um, so Marta starts to lead the way, uh, and she sort of narrates as she goes. Um, yeah, sometimes my they're not really servants because he doesn't want them per se, but worshippers feels like a big word. My father's followers sometimes need resources when they travel, and they insisted on giving me this. And she pulls out this really gaudy looking token. Like you can tell, like it's beautifully crafted, but with like no sense of taste whatsoever. It looks like very expensive materials, incredible craftsmanship, but very kitchen sink. It's covered in this beautiful, like the highest quality of like luminescent silver, and there's just diamonds embedded all over it, and it has like a stylized depiction of a Tarrasque rampant. Um, and she just kind of like sighs and is like, yeah. Um, anyway, there's a tavern. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's a little bit further down from here. Shoot. It's something making fun of Titania. No, she wouldn't say that, sorry. It's something making fun of the other queen.
Would that be enough of a clue for Oric to remember what it is?
Yeah, definitely. It's the queen's ass.
Autumn.
Yep.
And you hear a distant braying, and you don't know why. My gosh. I need to like go back and destroy like half the lights on this map.
They
I
look
think
really
it's
cute.
gorgeous.
They're like fairy lights.
No, he took me
It's
away from the river.
fun.
Sorry, I needed to much like the old teleporter conundrum, you all never actually travel from map to map. A copy is made of your characters and dropped on the new map. And like the Prestige, you all are dumped into a tank afterwards. So let's see how overbearing this is. So you all are able to go a little bit further. It's, again, terms don't make a ton of sense here. Your brain tells you that you have moved east and south. What that actually correlates to is a little ambiguous. But you're closer. You're now looking out over like the river proper. And it's so wide, it's almost more like a lake that just keeps going.
Can we see the other side, or is it just horizon?
Make a perception check. Everybody can do this just for fun.
15. You got a crit on that.
I have no bonus and I got a 20.
I noticed that it said +0 in the parentheses. So it's like, that's a crit.
Oric, you
I see all.
Or knows all.
just faintly think you might imagine a glimpse of something way off on the other side. Cyrus, even though you technically got the same roll, this is truly like just a sense of scale. This is a need a nat 20 to maybe see the other side.
Fair.
This is like from a high place on a clear day, maybe you could see the other side. All right. So you arrive at the Queen. Let's see how the lighting looks inside. You can see there's sort of some shops here. There's a small garden of some kind. Still a ton of people milling about. I really should have gone more overboard on the tokens. But I only made like 20 and I wanted to space them out a little.
Oops. It happens.
Grab the door. I think I moved a door.
I think you did.
Yay, moving doors.
I might have moved a window.
It happens.
Well, then I just climbed in through the window.
Are we going in through here?
Well, I did at least.
Okay. Ah, hello.
Gonna throw a few more
Sunkeeping.
lights on it.
Oh, but every tavern needs like 12 shadowy corners for the plot hook to hide in.
Yep.
So it's very hard to tell until you all like walk into a room how crazy it's going to be. Yeah, you see, there's a lot of people gathered in this area. It looks like there's some kind of gambling happening at the tables.
Fine.
There are several people sort of feasting at the different tables. I'm just making some copies because the tables feel kind of understaffed here. There we go. So does everybody want to? Yeah, it looks like everybody headed inside. So I'll bring Marta in.
Yes, the same Marta's the only one still up. But
Well, and Vela.
Oh yeah, and Vela.
don't forget Vela.
I almost need like an NPC like script that just makes them follow you all,
Yeah.
That would be pretty nice.
like a party in a JRPG where they awkwardly like trail on the map.
Mm-hmm. All
So-
in a little line.
The sign outside the Queen is of a. It's almost sort of like a wooden. Someone took like a thick slab of wood and like carved out a laughing donkey head in very realistic detail, and it seems weirdly familiar.
Let's say, how much does it look like that dude that runs Midsummer Pond?
Give me an insight or history check. And everybody can do this if you want.
19.
13.
So anyone,
So, Auric, I think the idea is there, but like not necessarily with certainty. Cyrus and Lexi, you see this, and you are positive that this doesn't just look a little like him. This looks exactly like him, down to like weirdly specific details that seem highly improbable.
Are you
Okay.
saying all Fae look the same?
All right. There's a lot of hustle and hubbub in here. Hustle? Bustle. I got my letters mixed up there. Bustle and hubbub. I guess some hustle too. Some people seem to be getting taken for a ride at some of these gambling tables here. Drinks are being served. There's a very impressive like wall of bottles all along the wall behind this bar. Everybody give me a.
I was gonna say Lexi goes to look at the bottles.
I'll say everybody give me a charisma check as you all come in.
Charisma check. Okay.
Oh, that's not the button I wanted to hit. 16.
You really get
17.
16, 17, 18.
Yeah, all of you all come in and just sort of blend. You don't really draw any extra attention. You look like you belong here.
Sideline up. I do belong here.
This is true.
No, that's true.
I'll let Auric decide. Has Auric been down this way before?
Have not been to this one in a long time. I think I was headed this way whenever I magooed my way into the human world.
Ah.
So Marta goes over and starts to have sort of a circumspect conversation with a dragonborn behind the counter. Um, just for a second, you see. I'm not even going to make you all roll for it because you'd be watching, seeing what she's doing. For just a second, you see this dragonborn go, and what is clearly like a very heartfelt salute, and Marta just looks just the most aghast and defeated you've ever seen. Like, you've seen her get like smashed into walls and attacked by giant creatures, and she does not care about that. She is mortified of this exchange. Just for fun, Oric, give me a history check with advantage.
All right, dirty 20.
So, the slumbering catastrophe is infamous in Fairy for wanting no part in anything administrative, any kind of leadership, any kind of anything, really. The Lord Taurus basically only gets involved in items of dire threat. But there is still something about Lord Taurus that is enough like a traditional archfey that he exerts a gravity which is subconscious, and he can't stop. And there are fae that are inadvertently drawn to his service despite all of his efforts. And this is clearly one of them. And Marta clearly shares his feelings on this matter.
Yeah.
So she has shown the signet. He's done this. He steps away for a minute and comes back with a clearly like a bulging sack of gold. And again, he draws a little bit of attention doing this because he doesn't just like subtly hand it to her. He like falls on both knees, puts his forehead on the ground, and holds it up at like an offering to a deity. And Marta like grabs his hands, pulls him to his feet, and smacks him across the back of the head, which clearly like rings his bell. You actually see him kind of splutter in shock for a second as all the air goes out of him and a little like of white frozen mist.
And inside he's thinking, a blessing, a
Yes.
blessing from the Lord.
That is absolutely the vibe that he has here. You can tell in his head he was like, he's like, the back of my head has been blessed by the holy saint of catastrophe herself.
I'll never wash my horns again.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
She just like, and like lifts him up over the bar and deposits him back on the other side. You see another dragonborn comes over, and much more subtly, like he doesn't do like, he like very gently like lays his hand on the table like this, and Marta seems to approve of that more, and leans over and whispers something to her. Anyone interested in any of the inspecting anything in the room?
I mean, Lexi's looking at the bottles, so I don't know if there's anything to inspect there.
Uh, give me. Do you have any intelligence skills that you're proficient in?
Oh, let's see here.
Yeah.
Investigation, I'm proficient in.
Give me an investigation check, and this is a stand-in.
Okay.
Are you really not proficient in brewer's tools?
I don't have it listed. I rolled an 8.
I'm just gonna like fix this.
Yeah. I do have technology, but I don't have any other skills that.
There we go. I just dropped brewer supplies under your tools because
Okay.
that just makes sense.
Okay.
With an 8, it's overwhelming. Like categories, all the categories that you've learned, all the things that make sense to you, don't seem to apply here. Some of these jars only contain light or a swirling handful of sand. One of the jars has some kind of jiggling jello-like liquid in it, but sometimes cackling goblin faces rise to the surface of it. And one actually like they rise like bubbles and like audibly laugh for a second and then pop like bubbles. And one of them like lingers for a second and like winks at you and then pops. Anybody else want to inspect anything or
Um, I'm just kind of watching Marta, I think. And I guess also kind of since I'm the only local, I'm looking around the room to see if there are any familiar faces.
give me a history check, and this is sort of just a stand-in for like a luck check, basically.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Oh wow. Um,
I know. That's weird. Definitely.
so you said you came this way on your sort of way to the human realm. Who are people Auric might have encountered, or what occasion would Auric have had to encounter strangers in the village?
In the village
Or just sort of in his childhood?
okay. I think once I started doing work for Lambton, I probably spent a lot of time meandering the riverside, just not wanting to go to work, not wanting to go home.
I mean, you just recognize some of these people. This is sort of the weird thing of most Fae in Fairy, absent violence, will live an incredibly long amount of time by human standards. So, like, literally, there's like a fish dumpling stand or something out there that has had the same little gnomish couple working it the entirety of your life. You recognize them. You see. This is kind of a nicer establishment. You maybe see some people you've like delivered missives to from Lambton. Maybe people who would have been either meeting with Lambton or like sort of sitting in his waiting area when you like delivered things to him or received things from him to deliver. So you're definitely seeing some familiar faces.
Okay. And of course, as I'm having that thought, I also realize, oh wait, I look like a human. They don't recognize me.
Yeah, no recognition whatsoever.
I think that's not just Joe's thought. That is Auric's thought of, uh-oh, oh wait.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, you all just kind of read as a group of strange fae. But this is a place, unlike Tref Drake, this is a place where strange fae come and go all the time. Even the fact that the three of you look mostly human, as far as anyone can tell, doesn't actually mean much, because a lot of fae look human-ish.
For all they know, we're just practicing our disguises for when we infiltrate the human realm.
I am practicing my disguise.
Well, that's true, but
So Auric is sort of panning the room. Lexi is looking at the bottles. Vela, I think, is like, there are unusual, just sort of like utility enchantments all over the place. Like, none of the lights in here are like natural. Even like the games of chance, the dice, there's dice, but they don't roll. They get like flung up, and then they sort of like spin through this strange suspended matrix in the air. And she's sort of frantically taking notes on all of this.
I was about to say, I think I have to edit slightly what I'm doing. I'm scanning the room and also keeping a hold on Vela like a 2-year-old on the leash.
Yeah, it's all like just stuff that's close at hand. Like, she doesn't even have to like run to the other side of the room. Like, she's just grabbing each thing. Like, oh, what's this? And you see like the detect magic eye markings flaring over and over as she identifies all these things. Whatever this other dragonborn behind the counter is telling Marta, she is not happy about it. Immediate frown, does not shift, and finally she gives sort of a curt nod, and both of them sort of, the one with the head a little bruised bows quite a bit lower than her, and the other one is more subtle, and it's just like a fragment of a tiny bit more respectful. And Marta comes back over to you all. I think just so it's less awkward, I'm going to move some of these people away so it doesn't feel like you're sharing a table. So Marta looks very concerned and is like looking around the room.
so what happened?
Do we have a problem?
My contacts flagged. My contacts, I guess, did a better job than I did. They flagged Argent and Stultus coming into the city with... They weren't even really trying to hide it. They walked into the city with a human child. And as far as anyone can tell, they haven't left. There's only a handful of the followers in town. But thankfully, that one over there, not that one, the other one, seems somewhat competent and pays the right people to know who goes in and out of the city. And Argent and Stultus have shown up a couple of more times. They got here maybe less than a day ago. Maybe This is not her not knowing. This is the DM not knowing. So y'all have had one long rest and one, not even a short rest, right?
Right.
Yeah, when even it counted, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
the
an
short
actual
rest was
short
using
rest.
the tattoos. So
Yeah,
So you've maybe been here 20 hours, something like that.
yeah.
Mhm.
They got here maybe 10, 12 hours ago, something like that. And they've shown up a few more times, and they've interacted with several people in town, but the human child has not shown up again.
I don't like that.
So now we have to piece out where they went first. Where did the human child disappear to?
They saw a lot of people saw the child coming into town.
Right.
It was like they didn't even care.
They were just flaunting. Well, maybe not flaunting, but weren't trying to hide the fact that they were bringing a child in.
But it seems like it's confusing. They seemed like they were taking care of the child. They were buying it food. They were buying it things from the stands. But no one has seen it in 5 or 6 hours now. And Argent and Stultus have shown up individually other places in town.
Individually or together, but without the child.
Individually and interacting with others. This has sort of pulled Vela's attention back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does your competent contact over there have any insight into
Say suggestions.
the general vicinity? Like, have they been within a certain radius of a point or anything like that?
Yeah. He was able to sort of trace their steps at least some of the way into the city. I mean, again, they weren't exactly hiding. They moved down the center of town. I really don't know what to make of it.
It's like there's a big piece missing.
Just got a random idea. Did they see any of the anything specific that they bought the child?
She actually has a list. A lot of it is food. Um, and very specifically, Lexi and Cyrus, I think you look at this list and think, oh, this looks like what a small child would be interested in. Oric, I think you look at the list and maybe just think this is what anyone would be interested in. But there's a strong emphasis on like little treats and sweets and candies. But
Chicken nuggets.
even like little toys.
Okay. Yeah.
It didn't seem like Argent and Stultus were like shopping for themselves, but it looks like they were spending indulgently on this child.
So I just remembered that I've got something that could cast locate object. Probably any little things like that won't, since we don't know what it is exactly, would probably just ping the nearest stand that sells them. Would Oric, do you remember if Argent or Stultus have any like particular like
Haunts in town.
or like no like a magic, do they have a particular like magic focus or something we could try to like cast on? I'm guessing Vela probably doesn't have anything that does like scrying.
Oh, let's see what she's got on her. While I'm pulling that up, you all, yeah, you all would know pretty well. Both Argent and Stultus did seem to have, like special magical weapons, that they used when you all fought them under Banner and Norton's.
Okay.
Stultus had like a sort of like snowy crystalline blade that was sort of longsword esque. And no, sorry, I had that backwards. Argent had a sort of snowy longsword, and Stultus had something that was like it was more of a sort of crystalline rapier, but it had elements of color to it, almost like the crystal and ice was almost like dyed, and it had a almost a sort of butterfly motif to it in the colors.
Yeah.
I do remember the butterflies, yes.
Yeah.
Do you think we could try to trace the butterfly rapier?
That's what I'm wondering.
So what's the plan?
So I think the only other question now I'm trying to think is like, are the odds that Mort and the kid are in the same spot or different spots? And if so, who do we want to go after first?
Right.
And so maybe tracking the rapier might help with that. If it's leading to the same spot, that answers that question. If they're leading to different spots in the city, then that gives us an opportunity to decide if we want to
Right.
hit one or try to pick somebody off.
Yeah, so let's try and track the rapier and see where that leads us.
Okay.
All right. This is the
The
Finder's
back
Keeper,
room.
right?
Yes.
The rapier is inside the building.
Oh my goodness.
Did I finally actually make an item for it?
Don't think so.
Oh my gosh, I didn't. What the heck?
But I think it's like 3 charges of locate object or something.
Okay, yep, there we go. The Finder's Keeper. Locate object, 3 charges, regain 1d4 -1 at dawn. I'm definitely filing this away with my Mort question mark in my my glossary. All right, 1,000 feet. So 1,000 feet is give or take like half a mile. Does that sound right?
I think it's more like a quarter mile.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm going off my Fitbit, but I was thinking of 1,000 steps, not 1,000 feet. It is. Let's see. Quarter mile. You're probably not quite within a quarter mile. I think the spell doesn't ping anything at first. But since it lasts for 10 minutes, I think that if you all are kind of in motion, you might be able to sort of pick up the signal.
Okay.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay.
All right. So we're just going to call this. Trying to decide between. I mean, this has almost got to be luck. So Cyrus, give me a flat d20 roll.
And as we walk out the door, I very casually just
What do you do? Oh.
So fast that you barely see it. Marta has gently for her smacked you in the back of the head. Like your brain takes a second to process exactly what happened because you do that and then suddenly your head just hurts for no discernible reason. And you catch just like the slightest twitch of her hand like settling back at her side. And Vela is just like, you deserve that.
Yep. Worth it.
All right, let's look. Oh no!
Was this it? Low is good on a luck check, right?
Oh no! That's like walk into the river luck.
Can I use my inspiration on his roll?
Yes, I'll specifically allow this because I think Oric, you would have like vaguely an idea of like what parts of town have what kinds of buildings and things, and you're able to kind of like spin Cyrus around and sort of head back in the right direction. So let's get another luck roll, whether Cyrus wants to roll it again or Oric wants to roll it, whichever of you wants to do that.
Let your dice redeem themselves, John.
All right.
Oh
Uh-oh.
no!
That was not
It's
a
better.
redeem. That was not really a redeem.
Everything all night's been like a 16 or higher until now.
It's like they know.
There is a stand as you are walking down one of the streets, and the stand is draped in sort of like layers of this gauzy, almost sort of like very, very thin silk, in just layers and layers. And so parts of it allow the light through, and parts of it block it. And where all this ambient light hits it off the river, it sort of glows. And sort of hidden within the confines of it, there is a table and some wizened old creature that you cannot see, except for like maybe just a little bit of like a long crooked nose sticking out and like long spindly fingers sort of up like this, just barely sticking out of sleeves. And the nose is sort of resting on top of the fingers. And there's like crystals glowing inside. And you just sort of, just for a second, Cyrus, this catches your eye. And you glance into the tent. And for just a second, you look under the hood. And under the hood, you see brilliant, shining points of light where eyes should be. And the first time this figure whispers, you're the only one that hears it. And then it rises into this shrieking, cackling yell of alarm. Tuatha. Demon. Crows and ravens. And this figure screams and is like knocking this table over, and lights and crystals are going, and it is causing a scene. And there is a pressure on this ring of seeming that you're wearing, as suddenly all this attention focuses on you. And suddenly a lot of beings that are used to perceiving things with magic are focusing that will in your direction. And the ring doesn't break, but for just a second, it's like something cracks. Like there has been a hard shell holding in a thick, dark smoke. And suddenly it just a little, and the smoke starts to escape. Some part of your aura has slipped. This highly perceptive being has caught a glimpse of an ancient enemy and is raising an alarm. What are all of you doing?
Backing up.
I cast Minor Illusion.
Okay, what's the illusion?
A flock of neon pink ravens around this person who is screaming.
Are you trying to hide your casting?
No, I'm just trying to cause a distraction.
All right. Give me. We're just gonna call this. This has got to be a performance check.
There. 18.
This works surprisingly well. It confuses the response for sure. People who were staring right at Cyrus are now having just like a what the heck moment as they turn and look up at these neon ravens, just like, my brain's terrible because neon ravens. I'm almost imagining them with like little glow sticks, like.
They've got them. It's canon.
This just cacophonous burst of neon and calling and dubstep, and everyone looks for a second, and you all have a split second to do something. What do you want to do?
Can I just try to like duck? I think Cyrus just wants to like
Vanish.
duck somewhere, try to hide. Maybe even like, well, hide first and then maybe like consider adjusting the ring to like a different projection. I can't remember if we can pick or if it's set, but
So the ring isn't changing what you look like. It's only
Right.
altering your magical aura.
oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Everyone who is trying to hide first, give me a stealth check.
Am I trying to hide? I'm backing away more to like protect myself from flying objects.
Are you pretending to not know what's going on here?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think she's pretending.
I don't think she's pretending. Yeah. Like
Um,
Lexi sees flying objects, and Lexi's first thought is like, duck, but not in like a stealth way, just more in a I don't want to get hit in the head with a flying object.
so assuming you like immediately get out of the way, what are you doing to sort of shake the attention of the crowd?
Would she do it? Would I yell food fight? Because as a bar owner, this is Lexi's worst nightmare. But as a friend who is trying to help her friends escape, yeah. Scream food fight and jump out the window. Or the door, whatever.
Well, you're like in the
Right.
middle of a crowded street.
Oh, we're in the middle of a crowded street. Okay,
Yeah.
see, I didn't realize we'd moved because we were
Yeah.
still inside on my screen.
Sorry, we're navigating by narrative right now.
Okay.
Because I do not have a huge amount of the city mapped.
No, that's fair. I got confused. Didn't realize that we had moved outside. So food fight's obviously not going to work. Okay.
I mean, there's
So
still
that was all contextualized on the fact that we were still in the bar.
there's still food stalls and things around. Like this is still a food heavy environment if you want to give it a shot.
Where's the nearest pie stand?
Give me a luck check.
Do I have a luck?
It's just a straight.
Just a d20.
Oh, just a d20. Okay. I was like, I don't think I have that one.
I almost thought to just make it a skill. Just it'd be fun to mess with.
Ooh, 19.
There is literally just like immediately to the next stall over, there are just pies, glorious steaming pies all over.
Whipped cream.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Lexi grabs the top of the whipped cream pie and let's see. Is the person that yelled at Cyrus right in front of them or
So let me sort of resituate the scene.
yeah,
So
I'm a little off.
Cyrus has cast locate object.
Here. Okay.
Locate object did not immediately find Stultus's rapier from within the queen.
Right.
So you
Okay.
all had to go sort of resituate yourself around town trying to get a ping.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and on two sequential luck rolls, Cyrus got a 1 and a 2.
Yes.
So as you all were resituating yourselves, basically an old, creepy fortune tellery something with long, creepy limbs in under a hood in a tent spotted something about Cyrus and has kicked up a huge fuss.
Okay. Okay.
So there's like a press of people all around. There's tons of stalls and stands. There's food. There's trinkets. What do you want to do?
Well, I'll then just turn to the closest bystander who is, you know, ogling the situation and throw a pie in their face and yell food fight.
Um, all right. We'll call this. I think this is a persuasion check.
Okay. 11.
11. I think this buys you a few seconds. There are some cackling goblin like creatures that immediately skitter up the side of the pie stand and go like,
Yeah, boy.
boom, boom. They're the only ones who participate, but they participate with a gusto that buys you a few more seconds.
Hey, that's all I need.
They're not like full size. They're like this big. They have to like pick it up with two hands and throw it. But they have just been waiting forever for this to happen.
I have just made these goblins like
Lives.
year.
Yes. These are pie goblins shaped from the dreams of school children over centuries who have dreamed of food fights and never gotten to have one.
Yeah.
What is Oric doing?
Oric's just watching the chaos.
This is how you get pie in your face, Oric.
I'm fine. I'll be fine.
You sure didn't
I've
pie
got
you?
prestidigitation.
Marta just sort of strides away with the confidence of someone who can punch a building to death if she wanted to. So you lose a minute on this. It takes a little bit to sort of gather back together. I'm going to resituate you all. Whoops. I just realized I made new copies of you,
Oh, neat.
and so I have to plunge the other copies to their deaths.
Oh, no.
I'm melting.
They just fall into the river, and tiny pie goblins eat them. So y'all are able to kind of get back together. Uh, so Cyrus, I think you weren't entirely unscathed by the pie. Like, you were very good at like ducking out of the way very quickly, taking advantage of the distraction. And I think it was exactly because of your adeptness that one of the pie goblins maliciously targeted you. And so you have a giant smear of cream pie on like the trailing end of your cloak or your
Hey, if
your
that helps him
jacket.
disguise himself, like,
So as you all kind of reconvene, what's the conversation like as you all kind of put your heads back together?
I think Lexi's just basically like, okay, what the fuck do we do now?
That was less successful than I had anticipated.
Time to charter the boat upriver, I guess.
As you all turn to head that way, Cyrus, you feel a tug on the back of your jacket. It's maybe waist height, and it has a definite downward slant to it. I'm sure you have no personal recollection of small people grabbing at you for attention ever.
Cyrus will do a quick, like, over the shoulder kind of what's there.
It is this blonde, curly headed kid with traces of sort of bright, multicolored plumage along the sides of their face, big, luminous eyes. Cyrus, give me an intelligence check with advantage. Oh no.
My dice have just decided they're done.
Yep, they're
Oh
just
my-
packing it in.
Yes.
What is out of the three of you? Do any of you have something like visible on your person that is unique to the human world?
Trying to think. I mean, I probably have my cell phone.
I mean, I'm wearing my sweater vest.
This is true.
Maybe it's just the AC. You're fine.
So I think maybe maybe with the stress of all of this, the universe just has one more sort of pile on moment for Cyrus. You have not silenced your cell phone. You don't have signal here, but some like reminder goes off and just makes like a what kind of ringtone would or notification sound would Cyrus have?
It is a very standard just beep. He does not mess with it unless Jace has gone through and like
That's true.
hacked his phone. In which case, it's probably Jace's voice being like, "Cyrus, check me."
Message. Message. Message.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is.
No. There it is. Jace has hacked his phone, and it is the Monty Python arrow thunk sound followed by the message for you, sir.
Funk. Message for you, sir.
So you have turned around. This message notification sound has gone off. You have turned around, and you're looking at this child with this blonde curly hair, these feathers all along the edge of their face, huge luminous eyes, this human torso that melds into these strange, like bent peacock haunches, beautiful feathers, but something like unsettling about it. And with every trace of earnestness, this little child goes, "Oh, my dad really likes that movie." And you recognize this kid from one of the books of pictures that Argent and Stultus had of patients at the hospital.
Okay. Well,
Cyrus will kneel down, be like, "Me too. Is your dad around where I can talk to him about it?"
No, he wasn't able to come with us.
Oh, so who did you come with?
The the nice silver dragon guys. They're like superheroes.
They are like superheroes. You know, we've been trying to find them because we've got an important message from them from home. Do you know where they are?
Oh, Cyrus, you feel the locate object, the last sort of dregs of the spell, ping behind you.
Okay.
And you see. Can I see which is which? It's so bright. Doesn't even matter. You see Stultus casually kind of walking across the bridge towards you.
Like towards as in he's noticed us or towards just he's coming in our general direction?
Absolutely, it's like looking right at you and just sort of casually walking your way.
Okay.
I want us to jump back into this conversation next time, but I want to leave us with this little bit of information. So, Auric, you were right earlier. You did recognize this kid. And both you and Cyrus catch this. Auric, because despite your distractible nature, Steve made you work very hard to build up some attention to detail. And Cyrus, just because detail is your job. The information that Argent and Stultus had on all of these patients included why they were patients. Almost every single patient that was listed had a severe health issue. And you recognize this kid, not necessarily by name, but you put it together. This kid had some issue that meant that they couldn't walk. And you see with their shimmering sort of rainbow of feathers, this kid is sort of like stepping back and forth, looking at you all, and looking at Stultus and smiling, just this huge smile. Their eyes literally light up. And you can actually see just a little bit as more feathers sort of gently slide into place. So we'll come back next week to unpack that.
yeah.
And we will return to the Midweir next Monday. I'll go ahead and kill a recording.
Recording stopped.
And say bye to the internet.
Bye, internet.
Bye.